For a long time, my country, Kenya, was known as the Island of Peace, where we were situated in a region where almost all the other countries, from Somalia to Sudan to Uganda, Angola, Mozambique, Burundi, Rwanda, had all at some point descended into violence and conflict. But Kenya was seen as that place where we were unlikely to experience violence and conflict. Unfortunately for us, that changed after the elections in December 2007. We all voted very peacefully and waited for the announcement of the results. But after the announcement of the results, or even before the results were announced, there was a build-up of tension in Kenya. And finally, when the results were announced, the country exploded into violence because the results were disputed by one of the major political parties in Kenya.
I must confess that for me, when the violence broke out, I was in a state of shock. And even though I'm a peace builder and I've traveled all over Africa in countries like Somalia, Liberia, Sudan, for the first time I was stunned and I didn't know what to think, because I never knew that violence and the magnitude with which it happened in Kenya, I would have to face that, to see my own Kenyans lying in city morgues, people being shot, houses burned, hearing people screaming, shotguns, because where I live, I could hear in the neighborhood the youth who are rioting and police having fights with the police, and seeing also in the media people dying and blood spilling. For me, that was really, really a traumatizing experience.
Hello, my name is Abubakar Idi. I came from Lindi. The post-violent election did affect a lot of my life, because one of my friends got shot. He died. His name was Abdallah. He was one of my best friends. Even from that day till now, these are some songs. If I hear those songs, even yesterday we are at one of our I don't have much to say, because Abdallah was one of our best friends.
The experiences I collected the last couple of days by listening to people who were involved in these processes, I'm highly impressed, and I think the example of Kenya from the last year, how they responded to this post-election violence, can be a model for other countries as well.
Even at that time, to travel to the airport was such a difficult thing because all the road was blocked. But you had to take risk in contributing to peace, because you're trying to transform the violence that was taking over. So I said, this is a national calling. My country is burning. Whatever that is needed, I will go. I had no idea what I was coming to do. So I boarded the plane in Mombasa, came to Nairobi. At this time, the very existence of our state, the very existence of our nation as a nation was really at a critical moment, that the country was disintegrating very fast. And it needed to hold the country together with a message of hope that at least we have to find ways of doing things. But as the core group, ours was to mobilize Kenyans, but to work at different levels, to work at the levels of trying to find a mediated settlement to the political crisis but at the same time to mobilize people at the grassroots level.
What happened during the post-election violence was that the identity of young people was challenged. They had sought to come together, they had sought to coexist in a multi-ethnic settings, and then that suddenly was disrupted by the political class when they were urged to retreat to their ethnic enclaves and ethnic bases. And therefore, there is need to reconstruct that identity that was forming before the post-election violence.
Carolina for Kibera is an organization that was formed in 2001, and one of our primary objectives was to address the issue of how can we address issues on conflict, how can we address issues on ethnicity, and especially with young people. And one of the things we really started by doing is the use of sports, really, and how, because sports is really a tool within Kibera that can have a huge impact within the community.
Carolina for Kibera help us in a way that they form tournaments, and we also have kicking aids out, whereby we combine all the tribes together, we come together, play together, then we have a discussion group whereby each and every individual is given a time to discuss what he or she feels, then we are taught about the different values of living together and staying together as a family. Yeah.
Amani. Hapa kwetu. Amani. Karibu mwana chief. Surely it is the politicians who have divided these people, and even after they have divided them, they have never come back to tell them, no, this was wrong. And now we have, actually let me say we have achieved. We don't have passive, but now we have the active peace. As you can see them dancing together, laughing together, cracking jokes together. But before, nobody could talk with one another. Yeah, because if you see him, you can just divert and go the other way, just to avoid saying hi. But today, they are all together. And I'm sure even you didn't know who is a Samburu, you didn't know who was a Luo, you didn't know even who was a Kikuyu. They were all here, but you didn't know them. They were all here. So now we are at the top. And we are expecting this will continue even in 2012. It's our hope and wish.
To put it very simply, the way I see it is that they were working from the bottom up. They were working with people on the ground all over the country in the most violent areas. And so spreading this vast network of people who not only wanted peace but could say so publicly, could get in the newspapers, on the media and so forth. And then Kofi Annan arrived and started his work from the top down. So Kofi Annan was working this way, the others were working this way, and the key was that they were able to lock it together. And that's when peace building really gets traction. So these few people, with their huge number of contacts, managed to, in my view, stop Kenya dropping into civil war. And we will tell people in other parts of the world what we have learned from you in Kenya.